Welcome to Healing Conversations with me, Mphirima. This is a space where we tap into your mental state. We interrogate uncomfortable conversations and we open the dialogue of those things that you never wanted to share. This evening, I'm joined by Coach Cathy, as she's fondly known. Her name is Cathy Mphirima. She's a life coach, she's an entrepreneur, she's a DJ, and she's very authoritative in the life coaching space. Tonight, let's hear how she came to become a life coach. Coach Cathy.
How are you?
It's always a pleasure to have you around, my sister.
It's always good to be in your space, right?
I want to find out from you. Let's start here. You have not always been a life coach.
Nope, I didn't even know what life coaching is.
And yet here you find yourself particularly passionate about the youth, about helping people transform their lives. What got you to this space?
They always say you walk the journey, and sometimes everything it looks so perfect, right? You are this young lady, you're 20, you have a son, 22, you're married. Wow, 17 years later, you are married. And I always say it was a comfortable space. I came out of my mother's house as a daughter. I became a mom. From a mom, I became a wife. So that's the only life that I've known. Remember, this is my 20s. It was perfect. I would say I had a perfect life because at the age of 17, I was working for the bank already. So I didn't even know how to be without money. And yes, there was my son, get married, and you've got this beautiful marriage and that's all you know.
And then things
changed. Now things changed. Then 17 years later after marriage, I found myself in the space of being called a returned soldier. Now I'm a divorcee.
Let's talk about your journey towards the collapse of your marriage. It wasn't an easy one.
No.
With 2 children.
3.
With 3 children, pardon me, you get to a decision that you must make, and it's a tough decision.
Yes.
Take me through that.
I think, I was in Tabi, some people think that you go out of your marriage because you don't love your partner anymore.
Or that you get married to just get divorced.
Exactly. And nobody plans to get married to get divorced. I'm still to meet that person. Because you get married, when you say for better, for worse, till death do us part, that's what you see.
You mean every word.
Bona, it's not a show. And you give your everything into that marriage. And you make sure that everything goes accordingly. But, when you come back 10 years down the line in your marriage, and you find out certain things. Because I always say to people like that, I trust you until you give me a reason not to trust you. Yeah, no, I will trust you. Bona, I will. But the day you give me a reason, and my kids knows it, I said, I trust you. I do not go through your phone. I do not go through whatever that you're doing. The day I start checking your phone, it is your fault. You gave me the reason not to trust you. So that was the same thing with my marriage, When things started to unveil, it was like it's a dream. Like, no, this cannot be happening, And it was one of those where I was like, hey,
who is this person that I'm married to?
That's the worst part. I remember I was coming back from a trip, a journey. I had went to the Caribbean islands, and that's where I found out a lot of things when I was there. Because of the hours and everything, you make a phone call, and the next thing, when somebody answers the phone, you hear like, this is not what I signed up for, But then and when I came back, I still remember when my then husband picked me up at the airport. I looked at this man, I didn't know who he was.
Can I ask you this? When you say somebody answers the phone, is it a female?
No. Trinidad and South Africa, they're like 6 hours apart, right? So that means when I call during the day, it is night here. So I think what happened, it was a mistake. When somebody phones and you think you've dropped the phone, can't you press the answer button?
Oh.
And you don't even realize.
And you're having the background conversation.
Yeah, and you don't, and then somebody says, goodness, that's my wife.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh. Then I was like, drop the phone, girl. Just drop it.
You don't need to hear
No. But now, just drop the phone. And obviously, I'm there for 3 weeks. Now I need to have composure. Like, girl, you're still here, you know? When you get home, Then the next day you get a call like, oh, I got a missed call. Like, really? I'm like, yeah, man. Anyway, how's the kids? You know, you're keeping it civil. You are still, you know, I'm bringing myself to myself, you know. But from there, you are no longer, you're just there in person. You just want to go home.
Yeah.
And what happened is that I remember my flight was due to fly on a certain day, and then it was delayed. And I was connecting. So you know when one flight gets delayed, that's it, you are done. I remember getting to New York. And when I get to New York, they're like, you know what? You'll have to be here for 3 days because there's no connecting flights to London and whatever. Without me realizing, tears started streaming down. And I heard the lady behind the counter say, ma'am, are you okay? I said, I just want to go home to my kids. Is it too much to ask? I said, any other time, an opportunity to stay in New York for 3 days for free.
Gladly
I would,
grab it.
but right now, this is not the time, this is not the place. I want to go home to my kids. And that was the one thing that was in my head, that when all of this thing is happening, where are my kids in all of that? I remember her going like, say, well, ma'am, there's a flight going straight to South Africa. SAA is flying out to South Africa. If you rush, and she gave me the tickets, catch an air train, make sure that you rush, go there. And when I get there, I find people, you know,
checking in.
No, they've checked in. It's boarding. This flight is like, it's going. But there are people standing there. I'm standing like, I'm not going to get space. Until the guy say, ma'am, you should come through because these are the people who are waiting for people, standbys. So in your case, you're not a standby. You are. When I saw, I've never been so excited to see my bag going through. You know when you see your bag, that, hey, I've never been so excited being like, I'm going. So now it has cut my trip with 1 day. Because now I'm flying straight, I'm no longer connecting via London and all of that.
You get home, he collects you from the airport?
I phone with my phone, I didn't know that your phone can call when you are. I'm like, no, I'm at the airport. And it's like, eish. I was like, no. I'm not stopping you from doing whatever that you do. All I want you to do is to pick me up, take me home. I want to refresh because my mom had picked up the kids, they're going to church. I just want to get home, refresh, and sleep. So that by the time they come back, at least I've rested a bit. But I didn't know this man that stood before me. I didn't know him. I wish I could say, I was like, I don't know who this man is.
So in just that trip, the whole 10 years of your marriage, the whole 17 years that you had been married,
it was the 10 years, and you see it like, okay. And what we don't understand is that when somebody decides to go through a divorce, they did not decide yesterday.
Overnight, yeah.
Remember, this is 10 years of my marriage. But I divorced 7 years later.
So you saw the warning signs in the marriage, and you thought, like all of us, you know, I'll try to fix this.
Exactly.
And probably you consulted the elders, and they said, oh, mekhotelela. And probably, you know, you even reasoned with yourself. Because I know with myself, I also went through a divorce. There was a time when I was reasoning with myself that, hi, man, things can't be so bad.
And you start,
Hi, man,
you look at yourself and you think you're not beautiful enough. There was a time where I couldn't look myself in the mirror. The confident coach Cathy that you see now, she did not exist. She did not exist. It was, I looked in the mirror, I didn't recognize the woman that I looked at. I was fading away, all in the name of, you know what, these kids.
I love
him.
I
love him.
He's my husband.
Yes, things will get better. And you know, I'm God, I hate divorce.
Yeah.
There is so
and I'm
many,
not the first one.
There is so many things that are happening. But you know, I say, as much as I know that, you know what, and I don't blame her. I know my mother-in-law never liked me from day one, you know. But there's one thing that she said to me that resonated with me. She said to me, my child, the day your marriage starts affecting your health, you must know it's time to move out. At that time, I didn't understand. It was at the beginning of my marriage, you know. You still lovey-dovey. No, man, there won't be a reason. I've never even been sick and everything. But the day I woke up, I was in Tabi, not being able to see. The day my GP told me that I've got a scare of a stroke, That was a wake-up call.
To say,
And when you saw me, I'm this bubbly person. I laugh. I do this and everything. You will never have picked up. My divorce came as a surprise to even my own mother.
After the fiasco and the exposure, so to speak, of the lie that this whole marriage is based on now, what goes through your mind? You still have the guts to say, I'm gonna stick it out. I'm gonna try for 7 more years, and I'm going to ignore everything that has happened, and above all, ignore the infidelity, the unfaithfulness in the marriage.
I think for me, talking about infidelity and the unfaithfulness in the marriage, it was the day I went to Clicks, I still remember, to go to the HIV test. That broke me.
Yeah.
You know, I remember I went in there. You know, they take you through this counseling. You think, I've got this, you know, I'm going to do this. And I've already cancelled myself. Should I get the results being, you know, the other way, it's not the end of the world. I've got kids to live for. There are so many people. You still even try to think about people that you know that are alive, who are living with
HIV.
You're convincing yourself that, no, man, you know, life will go on. And they tell you about all of this. And I remember the sister saying to me, do you trust your partner? I broke down. I don't think that woman has ever seen anybody crying like that. Because I trusted him. This is the father of my kids. I love him. You know, now I'm being asked a question that today I have to say, I do not trust my partner. You know? And I don't think people realize the pain that goes with having to do all that. I don't think it is the divorce that kills you that much, but it is the journey to that decision making. Remember, it's the 5 stages of grief. You're in denial. You blame yourself. You sit there and try to find the reasons for why did this happen?
Was I not enough?
Exactly.
Was I, like you said, am I not beautiful enough?
Exactly.
Do I not satisfy this man?
You're blaming yourself. You're going through all of this. And the worst part of it is that you do not even have answers to these questions that you're asking yourself. Then I remember, it was 2016. I looked at everything that was happening around me. I looked at my kids. I remember walking in. You know, when you walk into, I come back from work and I get in, I see my son is busy playing a PlayStation, but the jaws are clenched. I said, Lord, I'm not raising a bitter boy. I said, no, I'm not raising a bitter boy. That was strike one. One time I come back from work, my daughters are fighting. The older one has thrown an Rubik's Cube on the smaller one. The smaller one is, this man is in the house. It's chaotic. I'm screaming, don't do that. And I was like, no.
This is not the life.
This is not the life that I signed up for.
This is not the environment.
This is not the environment that I want for my kids. There was a lot of bitterness and they didn't realize, because remember, around them this is happening. But
when
they are
elephants
kids.
fight.
Yeah, these are kids and they don't even know how to express their emotions to say this is what is happening. And
so they act out what they see.
Exactly. And I was like, And I said to the Lord, I said, you know what? Next year I'm celebrating 17 years of marriage. You know, like the prophet who said, okay, let there be dew on the leaf and all of that. Yes. And I said, the 5th of Feb is my, yes, the 5th of Feb. It's our anniversary, 17 years. And like my pastor always referred to 17 years as the system change. You know, funny enough, it was 17 years and it was a number of the system change. I said, it's 17 years. Then for all my life, whenever it was Christmas, I will cook, I will do this, I will do that. The families will they come, everybody enjoys. I remember in 2016, my boss saying to me, what are you doing this December? I'm like, the usual, cook. The in-laws come, we eat, people go, I clean up with my kids. And he said, not this year. He said, you're going on a holiday. I'm like, hey, I can't even afford a holiday. He said, look for flights, look for a hotel, and let me know how much is it. I did that. I found, I said to him, is this much? Put the money in my account and say, pay. You're not cooking for nobody this year. Told my kids about it. I said, we're going to Cape Town. But I knew that even when I was taking them to Cape Town, it's an opportunity to have a conversation with them. We went. It was during breakfast, just 2 days before we were going to come back. And I said, guys, this is the situation. And they're like, no, we see it. We know what's going on. And I said, this is where I'm at. I remember the little one. It was not even the middle one and the eldest who answered. It was the little one who said, Mommy, he's not the only person that loves you in this world. Oh, we love you too. Then I knew that they were ready. I knew that they were ready.
What do you have to say to someone who is, whose marriage is costing them their health? Who is staying in that marriage despite STDs? I've personally experienced that. You know, I contracted STDs in my first marriage, and that was not even the reason for my divorce. I still stayed. But someone is out there and their health is really at a loss, deteriorating. Their mental sanity is actually deteriorating. What do you say to someone in that situation right now?
All I can say is that, you know what? Find the strength in you to find the reason to live. Being it your kids, being it you, being it your parents, being it your friends. Find something that you can focus on and say, this is my reason I have to live. This is my reason I have to be mentally okay. Because I've got 3 kids that look up to me. I said to somebody one time, I didn't have time to have depression. Depression was something that I couldn't afford. Because if I have depression, what happens to my kids? It was an expensive sickness for me. I had to tell myself that, Catherine, where you at right now, you cannot even afford it. Whether you've got a medical aid or not, but you cannot afford it. People don't realize why I call my kids my strength, my pride, and my joy. I gave them my son, I look at him and I say, you know what, I draw strength from this boy. There is so much that I'm learning from him. There is so much, the wisdom that's in him. Then the middle one, she's my pride. She's that one is the first to get this, the first to get this, achieving this, achieving that. And the last one, I say you came in the time when things were really rocky. And God said, this is your joy. The focus was shifted for how bad things were, but to this bundle of joy, you know? So that's the reason I looked at them and I said, that is my reason to stand up.
They need me more.
They need me more than anybody else.
How deep does infidelity cut?
For a woman?
And yes, for a woman.
You know, like I said to you, I couldn't look myself in the mirror. I didn't like who I was. It kills your confidence.
And you compare yourself.
It kills your confidence. It kills your everything about you. If anything, you just want to stay at home.
Is it possible to forgive a partner who has cheated on you?
It is.
And rebuild again?
Yes. There are people that would do that once, probably even through counseling, whatever, they realize their mistake and the hurt that they've caused, and they come back and they are remorseful and they say, I want to work in this marriage. They will even go extra mile just to win your trust again, to say that, and to be saying, I made a mistake, but it is not what I wanted. It is you that I want. Yes, it will take time for the woman to regain their trust. But to forgive, you need to be willing to say, yes, I might not forget, but love will cover.
A multitude of sins.
Exactly. Once you get to that point and say, this is my sweetheart. He made a mistake. And he's coming back to say, babes,
Let's work
it. And you can see that he's
that
genuinely, the actions
marries the
marries
speech.
And there are people who can tell you their story and you're like, what?
I know of, and there are people who say they have come back and their marriages are so much better,
Exactly.
after
Because
having gone
remember,
the trial and the
sometimes
test
we
of
even
that.
take for granted that which we have. But you don't know what you've got until it's gone. And when somebody realizes that, hey, I'm about to lose this woman, I'm about to lose this man, and I don't want to lose them. I didn't know how special Nthabiseng is until I almost lost her. I thought all of these people that I was messing around with, then you realize that, bona, ke mo heaven anymore. You see, so yes, it is possible.
So you became a life coach. And that journey was influenced by the difficulties you experienced in your marriage. And they led you to find your purpose.
Yo, talk about it. I remember, I didn't know what life coaching was. I was just scrolling through. Funny enough, the weather was cloudy. It was the first after the divorce was granted. Now it was one weekend in, one weekend out. Remember, I left my mother's house. There was warmth. I went into my own house. There was warmth. There was voices. There was sounds. There was never a time where there was a dull moment, unless if they go to school or he went to work or, that's the only time. But you know that there will be that, mommy, daddy. There was that in, I remember the weather was not helping. It was raining. It was gloomy. Then I was in my room. This is our bedroom. This man is not there anymore. My kids have left the day before. They're spending the weekend with daddy. Things are no longer the same. This is new to me. I remember going through Facebook and I saw this thing, life coach. I think they were having a special. Life coach, what is life coach? I think I liked when you like, and then somebody was like, yo, sis Cathy, I think this will be good for you. This person doesn't even know what I'm going through. Said, I wanted to do this, but with your personality.
Yeah.
This might be good for you. I don't even know what is this.
You were curious and you said,
and I was like, okay, let me
I'm
sign
going
up.
to enroll for this.
Yeah, let me enroll, let me enroll. At that time, tears were rolling down. I remember speaking to my other friend. I was like, friend, it's like I'm going down.
Yeah.
I felt like, no, I don't know how depression feels like, but I think that was the introduction. I was like, I want my kids. I can't. This house is too big. Everything is just too big. I'm cooking for one person. I can't take it. We're talking. I did that. Enrolled, I told my kids, hey, I'm going to do life coaching. Hi, they're excited. They don't even know what's left. Yeah, go for it, mommy. Go for it. I remember I walked in, there were a couple of people, me with my smile. Hi, greeted, how you doing? Hi, everyone. 2 days of that, then I was hooked. Now, because, that's how they get us into this thing. That one was the introduction. Now they tell you, if you register now, this is so much. It was half price special. I go back home to their kids and like, guys, this is what is happening and all of that. And I think they saw the excitement in my eyes. And we didn't have money. What I did when I went through my divorce, I resigned from my job because I used to travel 1.5 hours drive. I didn't know how my kids are going to react to a family that is not a unit anymore. I remember I resigned. I was celebrating my 40th birthday, went away with friends. It was when I was in the mountain. We were busy hiking. And after we prayed together, we said, each and everyone go into your own space and whatever. After that, I was like, I'm resigning with immediate effect.
So you registered and then you became a life coach and you've never looked back.
No, I remember one time this guy said to me, after we've now wrote our exams, we've gone through this and everything, said to me, one thing, they said, what do you remember about somebody? He said, when Cathy walked in here day one, she looked like she had all the problems of the world in her shoulders. She smiled, but her smile didn't meet her eyes. She said, but after this, the woman that I see now, it's a different woman altogether. And one person said, should you decide to do life coaching, consider working with kids. Said the love that you have for your children, it will be easy for you to love any child. And that's when I discovered my purpose and my passion. Through my traumatic experience of going through a divorce. And today, yes, I'm a life coach. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. I said to my kids, this is the one thing that even if they say do it for free, I'll do it for free because I love it.
There you have it. What is inspiring to me is the fact that you can come out of adversity stronger, fortified, and forge ahead towards a life of purpose. Coach Cathy's story is a testament to that. Not everything that is bad can actually be harmful, but even those bad things can serve as a blessing to your life. Definitely, her story says to us there's always a blessing behind every difficulty. There's always a silver lining at the end of every tragedy. I hope that this encourages you to rise up, to pick up your life, and to move on ahead, finding purpose in it, healing in it, and ultimately using your pain for the betterment of others. Join me again for another installment of Healing Conversations with Mphirima.
To get yourself a copy of our latest books, The Mending of a Broken Vessel and Maintaining Your Joy, a journal for daily positive living, visit a bookstore near you.